Yeah, so here we are. First song of tonight, Ulysses. Not about James Joyce, only vaguely about Homer's Odysseus, Ulysses. I mean, the whole song's supposed to have the feel of a whitey, and I don't know if is that a universal term? I was talking to somebody else about a whitey recently.
The offbeat bass.
Do you know what whitey is? Yeah.
Genius of this.
I was talking to somebody from the south of England that had no idea what a whitey was.
This bit where the keyboard comes
just
in.
hadn't had one.
It's good.
It's
It's very good live when it's really loud.
Yeah, this is one of these sort of songs like where anybody who's been there is going to recognise it straight away. It's about losing it and then kind of loving losing it when you've lost it, realising it's pretty good. It was one of the earliest songs on the session to be written. Love this riff here. It's really good fun to play live.
1, 2, 3, 4. Second verse. 1, 2.
Quite a different way of singing for me. This song. I've not really done this before in a song. It's kind of
9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
sort of half whispered sort of thing.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3,
And that's electric guitar. Middle part. I remember writing this with Alex in Moniai for the first time. We had about at least 2 bottles of wine each, I'd say, and just sitting at the piano together. And it was just amazing.
We would use different rooms in the recording, like that middle 8 was recorded out in the hall as well. So it felt like like as if you were making a film and you would cut scenes and suddenly you'd go from one location to a completely different location. Almost like, I suppose, like a dream sequence of a film. I always loved the dream sequences in Hitchcock films or in Matter of Life and Death or something like that. And it's supposed to be the audio equivalent of that. You've ended up in a completely different place. And Paul's drums fucking rock at the end here. Amazing. Nice one, Tom.
It is amazing. This reminds me of John Bonham, I think. Unbelievable. Don't know how the hell he did that. And that's Paul as well there.
Next, let's turn it on.
Yeah. So let's turn it on.
This song's been around for quite a while.
Dirty club music, this is for me.
This song went through a few different versions. We tried to record it for the second album, but it just wasn't right. And I think the reason it wasn't right was because we'd never played it live before. It's one of these songs, like so many songs make sense once you've gigged them. And this one we were like sort of bashing away at it in the studio, and it just wasn't working. And then after you play it live 3 or 4 times, you go, oh right, okay, that's what makes sense. That's why it works as a song. And so yeah, we'd play a lot of little gigs around Glasgow and Scotland. We even played it in New York at the Bowery Ballroom, and each time we played it, it kind of got a bit more intense, and it just kind of came together, made more sense. Very similar process making this record to making our first record.
That riff we came up with, that made the song really. Like we wrote it for the second album, and that riff kind of brought it back into this album. And we know it sounds a bit like la la na 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 na, but it's not. Also, there are a lot of parts in this song, and it's kind of been edited down. This is like, I suppose, the middle A, but it never goes back to anything. I suppose similar to Ulysses, it doesn't go back to the chorus or something. It goes to something even better. This bit. You turn on. You turn it on. Turn it on. Yeah, yeah. I love doing those harmonies. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's good.
You turn it on.
You turn it on.
You turn it on. That's the heaviest bit.
Turn it on.
it on.
Yeah, at the end of Turn It On, really wanted to lose it.
It's heavy.
Even when I was doing the vocals, like really, like just trying to just totally lose control.
This
So
is.
here we go.
Know You Girls.
Know You Girls, as it's called now. This song started off as Catherine Kiss Me. Some of the words are the same, it's about the same subject.
Bam, 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 bam. Drives it along. There's a rhythm, really. Damn, 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 damn. So it's played along to a drum beat. It took us ages to figure that one out. It was we did the demo like that, and then we never got it back. We recorded it about 500 times, and then suddenly realised we're playing along to a drum beat, weren't we? And yeah, and then we used that again. We just used this drum machine.
Particularly our second record is just so fast. And it's got this kind of feels much heavier to me, and it's got a swing to it. I really like the piano here in this section of the song. Like, we recorded it, the piano around at my house, which is, I put tacks in the hammers, like you know how you normally get felt on the piano, and so it gives it this really harsh metallic sound. And then we put it through an amplifier. Like once we record it, put it through an amplifier, so it's got this sort of screwed up, distorted kind of sound. This section here, the little wild guitar solo, that's the bit where we pulled in the the horses braying and the gunshots from the cowboy films. In fact, you can hear. Yeah, there's a gunshot as well there. Because it was when we were mixing it. I was mixing it with Dan, and Dan was putting in these like little dub sounds, like just flicking off a guitar sound to a reverb, and the sound, I was saying to, oh god, it sounds really like a gunshot when it comes back like that. Then we thought, oh, why don't we stick some actual gunshots in it, and that's how they ended up being there.
It's like their triangle over the top. Paul finally played a triangle on it. He did that in his house. He went there because he just become a father, and he couldn't make it out, so we went to see him.
Mid-light bit, like this.
Hiya, I'm just listening to the record. Would you mind going to Shuggies and getting some beer?
That's my favourite bit of
Yeah, it's not any American shit.
It's a Beatles guitar, really.
Okay. Yeah, like a good brand. Okay. Alright. Bye-bye.
That's a lot of instruments. That's the guitar, and that's the piano doing that, and that riff there.
I really love the idea of some horribly inconsiderate guys dancing to this on the dance floor, trying to cop off with girls who are equally inconsiderate. Which
Send him away.
a bit of irony there. Send him
Played
away.
this one
is my
live
favourite
in
song on the
Africa
record.
Express in Liverpool. That thing that Damon Albarn organises. It's pretty fun. Had a bunch of African musicians come and play in it, and I think it gave us quite a lot of. Made us quite excited anyway to record it. It was just before we'd start recording the album properly, and we came back up to Glasgow and sort of went to the studio really. I think it was on March or April or February or something like that, 2008.
Works into the next bit. And it's
This
just
is a fun bass line to play.
That's the African bit for you.
It's often the case that you'll say that you feel no jealousy, but it's always a lie. There's always jealousy.
I saw Quagmire. YRE. Yep.
And this happened in the jam as well.
This is going to be
And then
good
we
live
go
as
from
well.
6/8
There's a
to
lot of
straight.
things we can do with this section.
And then
Could go on for ages as well. I'm sure it will some nights.
it's gonna be good live as well. And there's a lot of stuff going on. As Dan's dubbing us coming in there, there's a lot of echoes and
Or the moods when we were recording very similar. So very late at night, it felt very free, and you know, you just feel like you're in a. Yeah, it was recorded in this room, so Dan would have been standing at the desk here with Paul Savage from the Delgados, working as engineer, and Alexis Smith working as engineer as well. 4 of us at that end, round the drum kit, playing it live, just jamming it, you know, like just putting it out there. And, Alan Johnson in the background. Alan was the other. I think when you listen to a record or you look at the people involved, the pictures that you see on the sleeve of the band are just some of the characters involved. There's all these other people behind the scenes, people like Dan Carey, our producer, and the engineers, and
we just thought we'd cut it
sudden
there.
ending.
This one's a really special song to me. I think this is a very reminds me of like French films I used to watch as a teenager. Just all these weird, like these really sexy kind of teenage love films from France that we used to watch in Germany. You know, it was all about like kind of slow dance and stuff. I don't know why it reminds me of that because I'm not going to slow dance to this, but I suppose it's those synths. So.
And I often fall asleep on my hand, and then I wake up the next day and have the pen written on my face. I like the idea of writing somebody's name on your hand and then falling asleep and waking up and then not seeing it, but then reading it the right way around in the mirror the next morning. And it being an omen, like things. I love little things like that are omens in your life. I'm not religious at all. I'm not superstitious, but I like omens. I like the idea that there are little things in your surroundings that
The calculator thing's pretty funny. And there's quite a few words you could spell on your calculator at school when you turned it upside down, like shell or shell oil. That's good. Or hello. It's 0.7734. When you turn it upside down, it says hello. It's good.
Heartthrob, anger. What's all those? And then this bit was.
This song's really built on counter melody as well, as much as possible. Like you have a main melody there. This album as well, we try to use as few chords as possible. So where there's a chord, we'd try and break it up into other melodies. So the chord is suggested by the melody rather than having something hammering it home. Piano was put on in the hall afterwards, so I remember doing that.
It's a chorus, but it's a higher vocal, and it lifts it again. It's
Paul's drumming's wicked on this song, so really heavy. I love how Paul can jump between like something very kind of like tight, sort of funky dance kind of thing to like this really heavy rock thing if he wants to. He's a very versatile drummer.
And twiddly bits at the end, good. Read down. I like this song a lot. This is really fun. I also like the God subject matter is really appeals to me.
When I was singing this bit,
This is a little bit sinister as well, this beginning. Lyrically, I mean.
Just a stereo track. So the introduction was recorded separately from the main part of the song. The main part of the song was recorded up here in Glasgow, but this bit, when we did the introduction originally, it didn't sound so good. And we did this bit down in Dan's studio in Streatham, and that was done live with just Nick playing the piano and Bob playing the bass in the room, and just playing live with just one mic in the room.
A simple song, I think. It's just really straightforward. We recorded it really quickly, and it was just obvious. It was just so obvious.
Well, every time I listen to it, it sounds like Heston with omniscient beer. It's not omniscient beer, it's omniscient beard. Like, because even if you've decided you've rejected God, you kind of still love that idea of somebody like Charlton Heston sitting up in the sky with a big Santa beard telling you everything's going to be alright.
Hi, Mum. Hello? Good, how are you? Hello, Mum. Yeah. I'm just doing some music, just in the studio doing some music stuff. Yeah, what are you up to? Oh, okay, what time are you going down? Oh, okay. It's not raining, but it's a bit cold and damp, I guess. What's he doing there? Is it? No, I missed the snow. Did it snow that last week? I missed that. No. Oh, okay. Oh, right, I was away. Oh, okay. Cool. Oh, right, nice. Cool. Oh, yeah, my grand told me, yeah.
This solo was fun to play as well. This is another example where you can hear Dan's influence. Like, I was playing the guitar, and as I was playing the guitar, Dan was messing it up with filters and sending it back through a feedback loop through a spring reverb, and it's cool. Like doing that sort of stuff live off the cuff is kind of where it's at. That's where you get kind of spontaneity and electricity. We ride together, we die together.
Again, Paul's amazing drumming. I'm a big fan. He's brilliant.
Okay, I think I'm aware.
Don't know how he does it. It's maybe the slowest song, I think, this one is. Slowest rhythm. Really difficult to play really well as well. Like another one that we had to record quite a few times until we got it right, because we did a demo of it quite early on and it was just really great. But it didn't. Something was still missing, but it took us ages to get it.
This song started off as something totally different.
Still don't know what it is, but we got it.
We played it out live a couple of times. Another song with this bass line. It was called Your Favourite Lie. And one thing I like about this record is it's been a total evolution, like over a year and a half, 2 years even, as songs have changed and become something better. And you can see it on YouTube because fans would like film gigs on their phones or their cameras or whatever, and then stick them up there, and you'd hear. And so yeah, you can see this song. But I think we played at the Grand Ole Opry with a kind of piano breakdown, like an Italo house piano breakdown in the middle of it. It's totally different from this one.
No, not that bit. Not this bit either. Actually, I don't know when it's going to come again, to be honest. Yeah, it's a bit that goes. It's a bit that goes. whatever. Anyway, it's a riff that Alex wrote. It was on the guitar, and then when we were recording the last album, it kind of turned up, and now it's on the keyboard. I much prefer it. That one.
And the chorus is leads shared by me, Rosie, Paul, and Nick. Not the cool sound as Rosie, really. She's brilliant.
Get to
and the end section on it. It's awesome.
And then you better wait for the end here, which is coming up. The guy who mastering a record, you have to go and get all the levels right and stuff. He said it was louder than Motorhead.
And this bit here, it's like it's like you've fallen through the floor and you've landed in the cellar, and there's now like if you imagine that you've completely changed environment again, and you're surrounded by, and the band are 15 times the size, and yeah, it's full on rock and roll. This is the bit of the song when John Dent, who mastered the record, got a message back from saying that he really liked this bit at the end of the song, and he had to recalibrate the lathe for cutting the acetate, and he said he hadn't had to do that since he mastered Ace of Spades by Motorhead, which is interesting.
Yep. This is another one of those songs that had a lot of incarnations as well. We haven't played this version live yet, but hopefully we'll be doing soon. By the time you're watching this, you probably will have. Maybe if you're coming to a show, then you'll see it. Unless this is years in the future, and then maybe I might have dropped it by then.
Got to do a bit of singing here. I've got to get some kind of choreography together for the live version. But I'm not going to be doing much on this song. I'll just be enjoying it. Yeah.
This string section here again was recorded out in the hall, moving microphones around about the amplifier to get the sound of almost as if you're running around the room. So and the sort of swirling. It's like you're being chased by vapors of sound. That's how I always imagine that string section at the end of that first chorus, like this kind of green mist of sound coming, trying to get you.
It's just all the right. It just triggers all the right things for me. This song, great. And then just.
There's a lot going on in this song actually. There's so many counter melodies, tiny little counter melodies. Again, no chords, all counter melody. So this is yeah, it literally completely changed the scene. I love that like where we did it on other records like as well, like completely changing scene, completely changing subject. Like Jacqueline, for example, the first verse and the chorus and the second verse rather, completely different subjects, totally unrelated to each other. But when you juxtapose them against each other, it works. It makes sense. It's fun. And that's what the middle eight of that one is. Bob in a taxi saying "man" to the driver. And here comes the green vapor again. Sang a lot higher on this record, all that high stuff. Not really done that before. Been nightmare to do live. Maybe I won't do that backing vocal.
His song was always a great song. It took a while to get it as good as this. I mean, it was obvious somehow, but it took us a while to find the obvious.
And here comes a subliminal message.
That's where the backwards talking is.
Yeah, it's traditional that we have a backwards subliminal message on each record, and Bob always gets to do it. So you have to turn your record player around and listen to it. That's the riff where, yeah, Lawrence and his big fat woman.
Like with the eyes up like that. I suppose this is part of the night where you're starting to forget yourself, which is a good moment. The best.
That was after we recorded it. We did that like this. And yeah, it was really a case of like totally losing yourselves, going downstairs to the basement, and 4 of us playing along at the same time with the song. This song took quite a while to get into the... Worked quite a lot on like the delivery of lyrics on this record, like how to... It's almost like, I don't know, not acting, but like getting into a part, getting into a role, like totally trying to get into the character of the song, because, you know, like everything about lyric, the reason a lyric's different from writing anything else is because it can be it's affected by the music and by the delivery, and you can completely change the mood and the meaning of a song by how you deliver it. And so like this song here, it can either be like the way I chose to do it is like this more sort of vulnerable way of singing it, whereas it could be sort of like angry and defiant, but it didn't sound as good like that. It's more like sort of, again, being lost and kind of appreciating it.
And then here comes Disco Voodoo.
Yeah, this riff, like all the riffs in this song came out again from like a little jam. I remember we were doing like working out this synth, and Paul bursting through the door. Like, what is that? It's like, yeah, I just can't stop feeling that. It's like, whoa, that's good. It's good actually. I love those moments, you know, like when something comes to you, or like as a band, like something works out, and just clicks and makes sense. You get such a rush. It's totally amazing.
Yeah. Well, this is when you've forgotten yourself. Imagine like walking onto the dance floor here and just walking up to the girl you've been looking at all night long, and you're just like, right, I'm gonna go up to her and just start dancing with her, and then you do. And then it starts off, and then you start saying something.
Yeah, and there was a time where I was like really trying to chase lucid dreams. I've always been fascinated by those dreams, you know, where you control them, but you don't quite control them, and you overhear sounds, and I love this crescendo. It's so. Anyway, so I was literally waking from wings with. And also with this version of the song, like trying to get it to switch setting and location. Like I don't know about your lucid dreams, but like, or your dreams generally, like I find when I dream, it does just kind of snap like that. Just go from one plot to another, one setting to another. This version as well, like was recorded right at the end of the record. This is the final thing that was recorded, and yeah, the vocal just did 2 takes. Just went bam bam, two vocal takes, like no warm up or anything, and it's them like sort of one laid on top of the other one that kind of gives it that weird sound, and then Dan fed some of the reverbs, recorded some of the reverbs backwards, and sort of like dubbed it up at the same time, which is why you get that kind of sound. I hear it particularly in the last chorus. It really comes in.
Again, quite tribal. You know, you're not thinking, you just go, you know, going for it, losing yourself. It's getting quite late. Yeah.
This one's very different. Like this song came out much earlier on. We put it up on the internet, and totally different version of the song. And again, the first version was again really different. It was this sort of like very laid back, not acoustic, but like a sort of very gentle song that we'd play. This section here was recorded from the original jam that Nick and I did on the synth. So like that's me playing the synth with that quarter tone thing, and then Nick's playing the weird syncopated clavinet in the background. Oh. And this thing here is one of my favourite bits in the record.
I guess this is like the peak of the album, really, when it's supposed to where it was supposed to this is kind of like the build up and the culmination of the whole kind of, if you see the album as a night out, it's, you know, this is the bit where you're supposed to, you know, be properly up, if you know what I mean. And yeah, this kind of exit section, this end section is came really late in the recording and wouldn't have happened without everything else that happened before it. Like we couldn't have, this wouldn't have been recorded like the first song in a session. It's had to come really late, and it was, I think it probably was the last. I think it was the last thing to be recorded, and yeah, that's my favourite bit.
Bits like that on the record, like the sort of like answering guitar and bite hards like that too. It was just sort of like stuff that wasn't supposed to be there. It was just messing around, and when you feel like you're not doing a take, that's often when you play the best.
Don Sebastian song that I used to really like called, I think it was "You Made Me Forget My Dreams," and it was on the second of those summer EPs, the Dog on Wheels one, and it was like a really nice kind of gentle sort of Don Sebastian song. And at the end, they had this like, not very much, like maybe 10 seconds of like this like banging house music, and it always just really confused me. Maybe people will be confused by this, but maybe this is more obvious. I never knew why Don Sebastian did that, but it's good. You should give it a listen. I think it's "You Made Me Forget My Dreams."
A loop of Nick playing live and sort of repeated it to give it
In
that
your head
fantastic
now,
feel, like,
at this point
here it goes.
of the night. You're still in the club, but you don't really know what you're doing anymore. I don't think. You're just wandering around and looking at things, and you're just woof, woof, like that. And you just got the music in your ears and the thumping of you.
And so what you're hearing here is that, like, so
dancing
the elements that were maybe in the song earlier, but we kind of took out of the mix, like we would sort of put them in, and I guess we use a lot of techniques that you'd use on a dance remix to record anyway. So like the idea of layers that could be pulled in and out, and so at the heart of that previous take was all this sort of like, I don't know, electronic stuff that wasn't in the mix, that was pulled out of the mix. Then at the end of the song it was allowed to return. And again, this was Nick and I playing the synthesizer, triggering it with the Linn drum, and playing it live. Like Nick's playing the notes and I'm playing all the parameters on the Pro One. And then Paul's doing this fucking wicked sort of industrial kind of stuff on the kit and bits of cymbals over the drums, and yeah, I think it's my favourite bit of Paul's drumming actually. I think his drumming's really good here.
And you just And that's me just doing this, not really thinking much anymore. And now you're kind of walking up the stairs out of the club. Leaving it behind you. It's thinking time to go home and you've got this thumping in your head. Ooh. Ooh. This bass thumping, blood in your head.
And I guess if that was kind of like the peak of your night, then next two songs are at the end. Really, this is still a little bit trippy. This song, I guess, like maybe you're like walking home from the club, but do you ever have that thing where when you're at a nightclub or whatever, and like it's like you're having a really nice time, or maybe you're at a house party after the club, but then you just have this massive craving to walk home because you want to listen to like Leonard Cohen or something like that. But it's been really banging music all night, and I guess these two songs are kind of like that. Like I usually have my iPod with me, and I love walking home, usually in the rain in Glasgow, like listening to like the songs of Leonard Cohen. It's just really it's just a really self-indulgent kind of like kind of stuff to do, but it's fun. And I guess these two songs are that kind of thing for the walk home.
This is the one I was talking about before, where we recorded the vocals just singing together around just around the one microphone. And again, that reverb that you're hearing, the all that sort of space around about the voice it's the sound of the hall in here, and that's that's something I like about this record. It's the sound of this building that you're hearing. It's not really something you're gonna get by plugging a bit of gear in or putting a plug in on it. It's the sound of where we are. It's the rooms that we were in. And again, this is a song that was structured by like putting on a lot of layers and then kind of creating the kind of like carving out the sound of the song by pulling everything out at the end.
I think it speaks for itself, the song. It's tough, so I'm just going to listen.
I like how gentle this is. It's nice. It's quite a positive song as well. Not afraid anymore or whatever.
It's an optimistic song, but still very sad.
Yeah, so here's Catherine Kiss Me at the end of the night. It does feel like the end of the night, this song.
I think this is a little bit cheerier than the last one.
Yes, I love you. I mean, I'd love to get to know you. Sometimes I say the stupid thing.
A but if you listen to it at dawn, I think, and after a night out, it probably wouldn't be.
Don't know what to say about this one. I think it's well,
How the boy feels.
again great fun to perform it. Like it, you know, when I think we did 3 takes. Maybe this is, or maybe 4 takes. I think this is the second take. Just kind of worked.
Your leather jacket.
Again, like I think it was
Sticky pools
2 microphones maybe.
You
No, 3 microphones. One on my guitar, one on the voice, and one for Nick's end of things. And
behind me.
it's funny listening to this because I do remember the actual event very, very clearly every time I listen to the song. And yeah, this song it's told pretty much as it was, and it's a bit weird to be listening to it with a camera on me just now. I love here how you hear the piano sounds just like it's maybe 10 feet behind where the guitar was, because that's what it was. That's where it was in the room. You know, you're hearing it as we played it in a room. It's cool. God, I remember this so distinctly. It was in Aberdeen.
Yes, I love you. I mean, I need to love. And though your opened eyes stare bored upon the overflowing pipes above me tonight, I don't mind, because I never wonder.
It is odd to listen to your record because I'm probably not going to listen to it again in the future. This might be the last time I ever listen to it from start to finish. Because once it's done, it's done. You know, you spend all these... I mean, literally, this has been like a year and a half of my life making this, and you end up with this tap on the guitar. That's it over. But you don't listen to your own music, you know. That's it. It's there. It's for other people now. Thanks.